Hi everyone, welcome back to the University Death Pool podcast, where we track which colleges might be the next to shut their doors forever. It might be grim, but we're diving into what it means when your alma mater shows up on a list like this, and why some schools are just hanging on by a thread. So, exciting news, we have new rankings.
Yay. I mean, that's awesome.
I know, it's
Right?
a lot of work.
What does that mean, new rankings? What are we talking about?
New numbers.
New numbers. We've been promoting the death pool with the data that we pulled, it was May of 2024 or April of 2024. And since then, we've had a ton of new financial data that has come forward and some more academic data. And what we've done is we've done a couple of things. We pulled in all these new balance sheets and financial and all the assets and the revenue, and we've recalculated. And there's been some shifting at the top. Before it was Liberty University right at the tippy top, but now it's Harvard. Harvard has, evidently they got word that they were not number one on our death pool last time, and they put a lot of work into it, and they have reclaimed the top spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, not that we rise to Harvard's radar, but yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I better be here in a bit.
No, well, yeah, so that's exciting. And then also we have infused our rankings with some state-of-the-art technology. Now what we're doing is we have, I'm an old guy. I'm going to go ahead and try to say it like you kids say it with technology. We have a bunch of little robots that go out there and scrape the web and then put it into a bucket in the middle of the cloud. And that cloud will make new rankings each and every week. How much of that did I get right, William? None?
That is exactly what a Zoomer say every day.
Yeah.
Do the buckets in the clouds.
The buckets in the clouds. And there's raindrops in the clouds.
There's, I guess, yeah.
But anyway, we've automated it. So it automatically will give us every week or so a new ranking. If there's been any other financial... You would think that it's like your taxes, where once a year you put your taxes in and the IRS gets it. For large organizations like universities, these financials trickle in all the time. So every week you get about 3 or 4 of them. And so every time we get them, we're going to recalculate it and see if it changes anything. It probably won't week to week, but over a year it definitely will. So yeah, we're excited about that.
Yeah.
And I think that if this is like anything else, people are like, yeah, that's cool. Harvard's in the top. Show me who's dying. We have a whole list of that bottom 25% of those struggling schools. And for those people that are new to the death pool, unfortunately or fortunately, those lower rankings are very accurate. Last year when we predicted some schools that were going to close, a lot of them did. Which is sad. We never want to see that, but it's true. So if you are a university or somebody who went to a university that's on the bottom of our death pool, now is the time to scratch out a check and invest in their endowment to help them out. Yeah, why is it just me talking today?
My guy wants more money.
I don't know. So with the new rankings, obviously like there was some shifting, but not all of that was just because of like new data. There's also a lot more schools that we didn't have originally. Why is that?
So yeah, we got about, what was it, like 200 more schools?
A little bit less. Yeah, I think it's like 193. Or you're right. Yeah.
That were added to the calculation.
But why, William? Why?
Well, one is because we just got more data. More data, you find schools. But it's also because if you get New Year data, to stay significant with our projections, there needs to be at least 3 years to be able to project to 2028. So, some of the new schools we got a couple New Years of data. They were able to actually project out to the actual to actually be in our data set now. So we got some new schools. We got some schools which were just missing data. Cleaned some things up here and there. So I feel like our data is now not only more accurate because there's more people. I also think it's just more accurate in general. solely because it's more accurate. So honestly, I think this is by far I like the 5 reruns I've done on this thing at this point. I think this is by far the most accurate list we've got so far.
I remember the first time that we had our first version of the death pool, and it came out, and William was not at all confident about it. He was like, I don't know. And you kind of take the ones that you're like, why is Juilliard there? Or why is Harvard there? Or why is it? But every time that we run it, that focus just gets dialed in a little bit better and a little bit better. And I think even though like right now, like last year, it proved itself to be accurate because the schools we predicted to close did close. But this year should be even better, and then maybe 3 or 4 years from now, we'll be able to predict to the day that they'll close. No, we won't. But that's like my filler thing.
Yeah. So along with
There you
go. So we've been kind of looking at these new rankings for a couple weeks now. Have we seen any kind of like new patterns that are emerging? We keep saying like it's getting more dialed in. So is that making kind of the picture of everything a little more clear? Seeing like more obvious reasons why this is happening?
Yeah, other than, obviously you have the schools that are going to be good. All the Ivies are in the high end, the rich boys, Stanfords are up there, we still continue to see the very successful online universities. Liberty is still really high in the rankings. They're still really high up there. And then on the low end, it's still the ones that, are either small, obscure,
crowded in the market.
Crowded,
Yeah.
it's they're just struggling, So I think it's just we're still seeing the same general ideas. They're just clear on where they are now, and in the rankings.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I couldn't agree more. The top, whatever it is, or the ones that you can predict, not even running the stats. Like the Yales and the MITs and the Harvards. They're all up there. But you start getting into some powerhouse faith-based universities towards the top that a lot of people probably haven't even heard of. The ones towards the bottom, this is really something that we're doing it not because we have a morbid curiosity. Well, we're not doing it 100% of the reason isn't because we have morbid curiosity and who's going to close, but because we really want this to be a tool that people use in order to make strategic decisions to make their universities healthier. And so the chunk of these data that I'm really interested in is that middle swath, like the ones that are struggling, but if they have a nice turnaround or a good capital campaign or some innovative leadership, they could really do well. And now more than ever, it's a time for this. In this current academic year, a lot of people are like, well, we're doing fine. This year is the year that it's a lot of people have been calling it like a false spring. We've been talking about the enrollment cliff, and we thought that this year would be bad, but this year statistically across the board for a lot of universities, enrollment's been pretty high. But it's next year we're going to actually see that cliff. And so right now, when we can, it's the time to make some pretty good decisions as far as what we're going to do. And let me just ask you guys this. You guys have been studying finances and math and higher education for a long time. If you were the president of a university and you knew that things were going to get really tough over the next couple of years, what would be some things that you would do?
Sometimes you just gotta make the hard decision, make some cuts. That's what at the end of the day, it's running a program is money, and if your program is not, putting out students,
Yeah.
Then at some point you just gotta bite the bullet.
Look at the math guy thinking like business guy.
Oh, I'm still here, So, but that said, I feel like it's you also got to bear in mind it's not just like, you have to see how that major or that program
Yeah.
also crosses over with other majors or programs. You know, it's like math. I was like a math. Math, the major, is inherently still pretty easy to hold on to because you still need it for physics or you still need it for engineering or gen eds. Yeah, I mean, so like if 80 of your classes are still there because of all your other majors, you know, then adding, you know, 4 or 5 more classes just so you can actually finish up that degree, you know, I think is inherently going to be much easier than having to make 30 classes for a degree, which is the classes only for that specific type of major with 10 students. So
Well, speaking of math, isn't the math pretty simple when it comes to this? If we want to get better, all you have to do is either what you said, cut costs, or increase revenues.
yeah.
So let's drill down on that a little bit. Grant, Nick, Lydia, what are some things that we could do as a university to effectively cut costs without compromising what we do or maybe increase revenue? Should we just jack up tuition? What do you think? Is that a great idea?
Finance people.
I mean, I don't think you should jack up the tuition. You're going to have the students here at your university who look at the tuition, and that may be a factor in the reason why you do go somewhere or why you do not go somewhere.
Was that a consideration for you when you chose a university, Nick?
I mean, it wasn't entirely part of the equation, but something that stands out. If I can pay for a small liberal arts school the same price as a larger four-state school, I mean, there's pros and cons to each side of that, but at the same time, I wasn't going to get the same experience in each one. One's a lot more hands-on. I think the biggest thing is how each university is going to position itself or poise theirself and differentiate upon different schools.
Yeah. Why do you think why do you think prospective students choose their university? Is it really, I mean, and you could be honest with me, is it really about, I'm going to get the best preparation for my career, or is it like, I really want to be with that football team. I really want to have that vibe, or they have a Greek society. What is it? Is it about the academics, or is it about the, I don't know, what do they
I
call
think
it?
it's really like 50-50. Like a lot of students look into school that specializes in what they want to go into later on in life. If you want to go to a really good engineering school, that's where you're going to go towards. You're not going to try and find the best football team because that does not line up with your engineering major. But then a lot of people just want it for the experience too. You always grow up learning about the college experience and going to a big Power 5 school and going to football games during the springtime, during the fall, and going to basketball games and stuff like that. So it really depends what your priority is. And then like students like us, we're looking for more of a hands-on experience. Some of us came to Friends for our athletics. Some came for just academics, fine arts. There's a lot of different possibilities that you'd be looking for in a school. So it really just depends what you want to get out of your college time, whether it's 4 years, 5 years, and how you experience that.
So, because I think when it comes down to it, the rankings of the death pool will show the schools, a lot of them, like the Harvards, like the Liberty Universities, they don't really care. They're going to be fine, right? But the universities that are really most concerned would be the universities that are the smaller, private, not-for-profits, and I don't know. I think that specifically, like at our university, at Friends University, there's a lot of people who are pleasantly surprised that we have some great academics. And I'll just say that. They'll go there and they'll be like, the zoo science is great, or whatever it is just a great program. But that might not be why they choose us. I think, so is there anything that we could do, or schools like us could do, to be more of a first choice, to have more revenue, or not? Because I'm looking at ways we either have to reduce costs, and a lot of times that's not great, because it's not like we're wasting money as it is, or you find a way to increase revenue.
By like revenue, are you talking about just simply getting more students or finding ways to get more revenues from the amount of students we already have?
There you are, Lydia, thinking outside the box. I mean, because I know that a lot of people think that revenue is just 100% tuition. It's just like, okay, it's tuition. But we get revenue on other things, right? We get revenue on a lot of universities, a lot of public universities get revenue on like parking fees and fees and fees and fees, and people pay a lot of fees. But other times they build a really good athletic program and they have more people in attendance, or they have other type of amenities that are very attractive to people. Or they are able to entice donors to give money and then endow some scholarships. So it's not 100% getting money from potential students. It's getting money from potential donors, grants from the federal government. There's a lot of ways of doing it.
I feel like the first thing that's coming to mind for me, like Friends is pretty unique in the way that it's like in the heart of the city of Wichita, and Wichita being the biggest city in Kansas, I feel like that's an opportunity that we don't necessarily take advantage of. We have all of the resources we could want right at our fingertips, and if we got more involved doing like work for the city and like making sure our students are integrated with businesses or anything that they want to like pursue as a career, that would be both enticing to students and would maybe bring more people here, but also keeping people around, and like you're basically creating new potential donors, because if someone is just really grateful for those opportunities that got them this dream job, and then when they become a millionaire, they say, this is where it's all started. Let me give back to why it started that way.
Yeah, like what you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
no.
Totally.
Well, so Lydia, you're going to graduate here in a few short weeks,
Yes.
right? And you're excited about that. We're sad that you're leaving.
Yeah, we are.
We are. We truly-
No, say it more convincing, please.
Oh, we are super disheartened and sad.
We're heartbroken. The podcast is going to end.
Yeah, they'll have to find someone else to replace you.
No, and you're irreplaceable. But you're at a situation where you can take a look at what we're doing, and you can compare it with a very large sample sizes of other universities that we've pulled data on. What are some things that you think Friends University should do? I mean, you don't, obviously, you don't, everybody has issues. When, the universities that I went to, I had some great experiences and I had some things that weren't so great, but what would you do? Is it just a sense of urgency? And I'll prime the pump a little bit here. When I've talked to people, one of the things that I've said is find some metrics. Find the metrics that matter, like what is your average course size? Take that and then have a goal of, instead of having 14 people a class, go to like 16 people a class, because those little ratios mean a lot of money. But what are some of the things that you would recommend that our universities and universities like us consider in order to be healthier? What do you think?
Oh boy.
Okay, and just to make it easier for you, I know it's going to be the first thing you say, but no, don't give me a raise. I mean, so
Yeah, that was definitely my first.
that was the first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. First off, what are some things that other universities are doing that we could do in order to make more revenue, do you think? What are some great things?
I feel like.
And feel free to help her out. Just don't let her
No,
just.
please.
I mean, there's things you can do, but there's also things that, as students, we don't want to pay for. You could pay to go to a football game or a basketball game or whatever sport that you want to watch and you want to attend. You can pay for parking. That doesn't mean we want to do those things, though. So that's always an option if a university wants to do it. But at the end of the day, you have to look at students and the ones who went there, and it's like, yeah, after 3 years, the university is going to start making me pay for parking.
Well,
I mean, here, this is what I'll say on it. feel like the biggest issue that we see with our university or small universities is recognition. I mean, if you go to anyone outside of Wichita, even in Wichita, and you say, what are the universities in Wichita? First one that's going to come to mind is WSU,
Yeah.
you know. And then you maybe might get a Friends or a Newman, you know. It's like we have a huge clock tower in the middle of our campus,
The most beautiful building.
and it's
probably.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like, oh, it's there, you know. It's I feel like getting the name out of, you know, something that we are here, and you know, we're growing and we're alive and we're living, you know. Then people, whenever they are applying for schools, they're like, oh yeah, you know, this school exists, you know. That's a good option I can go to, you know. It's not saying that like when you're applying, you're also like, you stumble upon them, you're like, oh, I didn't know this place even existed. I've lived here my whole life, you know.
So I think the people that mess that up, and I agree with you, it's strategic marketing. The people that mess that up are people like me, finance people, because we're like, Lydia, you want to spend how much on marketing? Oh my gosh, that is so much money. How are you going to return that money? And it's like, there's not a direct hard number that comes back. It's more of like that rising tide that lifts all ships. You're bringing awareness.
Yeah.
I'm speaking in metaphors today.
I can see that.
You do often.
Do I?
Yeah.
Well, let's just put the sidewalks where the paths are.
Okay.
And we just did it again.
I was also going to mention, I feel like part of the whole recognition, and maybe this is just also me because this is how I kind of approached college, but Friends wasn't initially like on my radar because I was going to school for sports.
Mm-hmm.
And then school was just kind of happening as well.
That's a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
To be fair.
And that's where like WSU, they got known because of basketball, and that's just what they are. KU and K-State, obviously big schools, great sports programs. So that's where I feel like it's kind of hard to just randomly be like, hey, we're on the radar too, but it's just like a small NAIA, like people aren't tuning in to, you know, our random football games and stuff. Like, it's kind of, if you know, you know.
Exactly.
But if you don't, no one's going to care.
Yeah. I think that's kind of unfortunate. Like, I mean, we have a very good football team. We are literally undefeated. So, and it's like, it's just kind of like because we're not on TV, really, you know? It's like you're not going to go to ESPN and pull up the, you know, Friends game. You know, that's just not going to happen. That's just kind of unfortunate, honestly. That's not, at that point, it's like, what can you do about that? I don't know. I mean,
I'm not sure if there is anything.
I don't know what you can do about that, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think that you can say we're going to put all of our eggs in the basket of football or basketball or soccer or volleyball or track and field. I think you have to figure out something that you invest in that is not going to be, because let's be honest, any athletic program, if you lose a coach, that program could change. I mean, we have a phenomenal golf team, and a lot of it has to do with we have a phenomenal golf coach. And I'm not saying that if we were to lose that golf coach that the program wouldn't be as good, but I mean, you just never know. There's got to be something that Friends or a different, smaller, any private university could market that would be meaningful to people, that would be consistent. I think finding that area of difference would be kind of a key, but I also believe that a lot of universities like us see marketing as something you kind of have to do. It costs a lot of money, but let's minimize that. Other universities that do a good job spend a lot of money on marketing, and they track the return on investment on that, and it can be huge. Because I really think that not just Friends, but a ton of other private not-for-profit universities, if their story was known, people would be like, I kind of want to go to that place. You know, there's going to be some cool private university that's affordable, that does a good job in like Hawaii, that if you just knew of it, you'd be like, I'm totally going there. But they're just not telling their story.
Yeah.
Yeah, just some beautiful parts of the country. Did you have more questions?
Pretty much, not really. It was kind of just like more talking about the rankings, like who's moved the most and like what caused the changes.
Yeah, we have a chart about that, but it's been mostly, as far as what caused the changes from Liberty to go from number 1, I think they went to number 8, and then Harvard to charge up there. I think it's just a lot of it is the return these schools have had on their endowments or their savings accounts, what a lot of people, their investments. So those rankings are going to be based upon largely on how much they have in investments. And this year was different than the year before when it comes to the return on those investments. And I think Harvard had a great year with that. Now, what's kind of hidden in this, and it wouldn't be in our current rankings, is a lot of these big research universities had a ton of money stripped away from them with grants.
Yeah, we're gonna see that a lot
Next year, yeah. I would doubt that Harvard would be number 1 next year just because they've lost so much money with grants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's that. I think it's cleanliness of the data. I mean, as we get more data, numbers get clearer. You know, as we get more data, and I get better at writing the data, numbers get clearer. You know, it's always the learning curve on things, but it's. I mean, I think it's just things happen, things change.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the number's getting better every single time, honestly. So.
Sometime we'll have to really go in as deep as we possibly can to having people understand how we get that calculation. The problem is it can be so boring.
What?
It's boring.
What?
It's boring.
Nah.
Yeah.
You just haven't found the cool people yet.
Okay, well, we will wrap it up for today. As always, follow us on social media at University Death Pool on Instagram and TikTok. We also have our website up at universitydeathpool.com. Thanks for watching another podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Hi.
Bye, guys.